Jai Shri Radhe, continuing the English version of Sri Chaurasi Vaishnav Varta. Varta Prasang Ek, the first tale. When Sri Acharya entered the land of Vraja, he had Damodar Das by his side. Sri Acharya always called him Damala and told him that he had created the path of grace for him alone. In Gokul there was a Sami tree on the Govind Ghat. A ghat is a bathing place by the side of a holy river, where the faithful might bathe or meditate, etc. And Sri Mahaprabhuji lay down to take rest there under a tree. Next to that place there was a temple dedicated to Sri Dwarkanathji. In this very place Sri Mahaprabhuji began to worry about how he would be able to fulfill the Lord's wish for him to reunite the fallen souls to him. Sri Mahaprabhuji thought the embodied souls are full of impurities, while the beloved is an ocean of the best pure qualities, and therefore to forge a relationship between them might be problematic. He became very anxious. At that very moment the Lord appeared personally to Sri Acharya and asked him why he was so worried. He replied, "O my beloved Lord, you are very aware that the nature of the embodied souls is most impure. How then can a relationship between them and yourself be established?" To this Sri Thakurji himself replied, "If you bless these souls with even just the sound of my name, they will be relieved of their faults. Therefore, please accept them." Bhav Prakash. Mahaprabhuji was anxious because in the path of grace, the principle is to please the Lord by offering him the very best of everything. How then to offer these mediocre souls full of impurities to him or expect him to accept them? Furthermore, the nature of embodied souls in this world is that if he himself were to command the process, then only the rare soul would have full faith. That is why the command came from the Lord's own voice, and the Jiva's faith was certain. For the Lord stated and promised Sri Acharya that he would never ever abandon whomsoever entered the Brahmasambandh relationship with him. Thus the Lord himself made this declaration. Part 1 continued. All of these occurrences took place on the 11th day of the bright half of the month of Shravan at midnight. The next day was thereafter known as the 12th day of the Pavitra, because Sri Mahaprabhuji made a garland of cotton strands and adorned Sri Thakurji with it. Then Sri Acharya wrote the letter-by-letter account of all these happenings and called it the Siddhanta Rahasya treatise, the secret doctrine. Whilst all of this was going on, Damodar Das had been sleeping nearby. When he was awake, Sri Acharya asked him whether he had heard anything in the night. Damodar Das replied that he had heard Sri Thakurji's voice but had not understood a word. Sri Acharya then explained to him that Sri Thakurji had appeared to him and told him to unite the jivas to him through the Brahmasambandha process, and that he would then most definitely accept those souls into his fold. Also, that when Sri Mahaprabhuji would give them the grace of letting them hear the Lord's name, all their innate impurities would be cleansed, and so the whole initiation process was very necessary. Bhav Prakash. Damodar Das stated that he had heard the Lord's words but had not understood them. Sri Thakurji had taught in the 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita that certain teachings cannot be readily understood without the grace of the Guru. When Damodar Das grasped this concept, he became the Lord's true servant. He was in the service of Sri Acharya, and so only when he explained he was able to understand. From this we learn the importance of the Guru to disciple and the Lord to servant relationships, and gain full knowledge of this in our hearts. If Damodar Das had claimed to have understood the Lord's words, he would have been claiming to have knowledge equal to Sri Acharya's. Therefore he said he did not. And then it was up to Sri Acharya as his Guru to explain it all to him, otherwise it was not even necessary for him to know. Part 1 continued. Then Sri Acharya said to Damodar Das, "O Damala, it's been such a long time since we talked about Sri Thakurji." Sri Acharya Ji is here regarded as the form of Sri Swaminiji. Why did he not tell her companion Lalita Sakhi, that is Damalaji, every last detail about her trysts with her beloved? That degree of secrecy remained unveiled, which is only appropriate. Damala understood the implication. Sri Acharya Ji thrice requested the Lord not to let Damodar Das Ji leave his body before him. He was contemplating renouncing the world, and he wanted Damodar Das to be present to teach his two young sons, Gopinath Ji and Sri Gosai Ji, and so he had to have understood the path in its purity and entirety. Sri Acharya Ji constantly taught the Srimad Bhagavatam to Damodar Das. He made sure that all the principles of the path and all of the secret doctrines therein were securely placed inside his heart. Sometime after his understanding had become complete, Sri Acharya Ji renounced the world. Again, after some time, Sri Gosai Ji Sri Vitalnath Ji asked Sri Acharya Ji's wife, Sri Akka Ji, about the festivals within the path. She told him to go and ask Damodar Das, for, as she reassured him, he knew every detail about Sri Acharya Ji's path. Sri Gosai Ji then proceeded to Damodar Das's home. Damodar Das received him with great respect and devotion. Sri Gosai Ji asked Damodar Das about the service manners for the festivals according to Sri Acharya Ji's path, and Damodar Das explained everything to him. Bhav Prakash. Doubt may arise here as to why, when he is capable of doing, not doing, and doing otherwise, Sri Acharya Ji needed to ask for Sri Thakurji's intervention. The explanation offered here is that Damodar Das's loving devotional mood was perfected, and Damodar Das is Sri Lalitaji's form, and thus most dear to him. Lalitaji is beloved of both Sri Swaminiji and also Sri Thakurji, and totally immersed in their service. In this way, Damodar Das is attached to the sight of both Sri Acharya Ji and also Sri Thakurji. This is why Sri Acharya Ji said to the beloved Lord that he would like him to continue granting his sight to Damodar Das after he had left. Hereby it is known that Sri Acharya Ji is very, very loving towards Damodar Das, and did not want him to suffer any grief after his departure, so he requested this kindness from Sri Thakurji. Where it is written that Sri Acharya Ji established his path in Damodar Das's heart for the sake of Sri Gosai Ji, the question might arise as to why this was necessary, since Sri Gosai Ji was also a divine form, although a child. This is why Sri Acharya Ji stated that he founded the path actually for Damodar Das's own sake. The path spread from there. So while the Vaishnavas knew very well that Sri Gosai Ji, being Bindu Shrishti, direct descendant, was therefore the manifestation of Dharma itself in Gokul, they themselves are connected through the divine word in the sound of the teachings. Therefore the path had to be imparted to Damodar Das, and then to the Vaishnavas who, as Sri Acharya Ji taught, should always remember their dedication in the company of other Vaishnavas. Therefore he gave it to Damodar Das first of all. He put the path of devotion into the devotees' hearts, and the path of love which followed attracted the Lord to always be present. The Lord within the heart, and manifesting personally, and where the devoted Vaishnavas are independent and full of uplifting excitations. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Sri Vallabh Acharya Ji Ki Jai.